because you recorded so much stuff. I mean, I remember you telling me you had hard drives with CL Smooth rapping and, like you say, Cool Keith, like crazy. I mean, you must go back to some of them like time capsules and be like, "Fuck, still sounds all right. Cool, I'm proud I got the. What was I thinking? You know what I mean?"
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I do. Some of the stuff I really can't release.
What's the biggest tune you really can't release for legal reasons?
Well, there's some KRS-One stuff
Stop it.
and Beatnut stuff. And I don't know, just because I just think there'll be too many problems.
Dude, you're like you're like the archetype hip hop hoarder.
Killa Kela podcast. KillaKelaOfficial.com.
Street Culture TV.
Beatbox created.
Killa Kela.
And we're here to talk about world music and street culture.
Killa Kela podcast.
Well, just record it.
Okay, right. Killa Kela podcast, live and direct, central London, or as central as you need to be, choose to be, could be, want to be. It's totally up to where you should be, but guaranteed you're going to enjoy yourself here with over 600 podcasts. There ain't nothing to be sniffed at. Thank you for sharing and caring and all that good stuff. Okay, people, our sponsors, the mighty GK Nifty Heads, have 10,000 play-to-earn GraffPunks NFTs to give away. Get ready as London's white trash goes blockchain digital with Bitcoin Cash tokens locked into them to claim. Get yourselves over to the website gkniftyheads.com and play to earn now. We're going to Budapest, where the Buddha's blessed. This gentleman I have frequented ever since my formative years, when he was CEO of the Jazz Fudge record label and the Ninja Tune dynasty, which led me to go on loads and loads of tours with him. Certainly someone who founded me and not the other way around. Part of Oneself, 3Ps, 1/3. DJ Vadim in the house. How are you, sir?
I'm still here.
Still here. He's still standing. It's Elton John on the flesh. We did start having a conversation, so I thought let's just dial in on it now. The 90s UK hip hop era, one of such a time where you could quite happily put your address in the back of an issue of Hip Hop Connection magazine.
That's exactly what I did. That's what we were talking about. And it's mad to think about. We live in this world now of like, people are so nervous, and so many people talking about like mental health issues, and that's a real topic. And I'm glad that people are actually talking about that. But I never ever got any weird calls, nothing. You were probably one of the only people who ever actually sent something through to the address. And then once the label went to Brixton, then we got tapes. But on the very, very early records, the ones that came out in 95, 96, you were the only one. And that's how I got in contact with you, because you sent it through there. And if anyone's got the first like 3 or 4 Jazz Fudge records, it's got my mum's address and her telephone number.
Times were very real. That's it.
But you know what? It's kind of weird. Like I still remember, I still have memories of Hip Hop Connections was this magazine in the UK that was supposedly the longest running and the first ever international hip hop magazine, older than The Source. And in the back, you had this classified section where people could put up, I'm a beat maker looking for MCs or whatever. And I got in contact with Dave the Rough. Do you remember Dave the Rough?
Yeah, Dave the Rough, Manchester. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was repping Manchester, and he would go to all the shows in Manchester. And then like, I just got in contact with him, and then we became pen pals.
Yeah.
That's just mad. It's just mad. Like now you have like Instagram, Facebook, whatever. But then you didn't have any of that. So people wrote letters, and then people would send you flyers. And before I knew it, like in like 92, 93, people would just write to me letters, because I just started speaking to people through Hip Hop Connections. So people would say, yeah, there's a hip hop jam in Cambridge, KRS-One's coming.
Yeah, totally.
Or there's something happening in Sevenoaks, or what's that place that was a public toilet? Tunbridge Wells?
Yeah, the Tunbridge Wells. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like you find out about these, and like now with the internet, and in some ways it's like we're less connected.
Yeah,
we're more connected. We're more connected, like, because you can go online and you could talk to someone like in the Philippines. But so you're super connected like that, but then you're somehow not connected with what's actually happening in your own city.
Yeah.
it's weird because it just bypasses you, like somehow, like the information. Whereas before the internet as we know it, I knew about shows in Manchester, in Nottingham, Cambridge, Leeds, Liverpool. I don't know, like mad things.
Mm.
Because everyone was so passionate. And because we're all young, all of us were like 16, 17 years old, 18.
Yeah.
You're just like, and everybody loved hip hop so much that you just want to consume all the information and everything. And it's like a sponge. Give it to me. And because we're in the UK, maybe because hip hop didn't start here, we were just like so appreciative of anybody who threw a hip hop jam. And then when Mark B threw those hip hop jams in Kingston, and then Blade came, and then like everybody's coming in, and I met Jazz T, and like then Jazz T knew this person, and through Jazz T I met Motion Man.
Yeah.
And
Which
like,
created the seminal terrorist tune.
And then I met Cool Keith, and like because it's just like it's like you were able to connect with people in a completely organic, weird way. Well, weird and not weird. People had telephones.
Yeah, but do you think though, Vad, like, of a time, it certainly was, it heralded a new movement, shall we say. I'm trying to figure out what might have been the technological, I don't know, the thing that was the catalyst. It almost seems a little bit too obvious that it was a back of a magazine ad, but I thought, but I was just going to say, hold on, I just wanted to add a little bit more value to what you just said there about about connectivity, because I don't think it's, to you that might be just normal. To me, that might be quite normal, but to throw yourself out there, that not a lot of people know where to begin, how to start. There's certainly synergy, some sort of quantum coming into play.
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately people want to communicate, and people want to feel like they're part of something. Why have people since the beginning of time written their name on walls? Because they want to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't start with graffiti in New York in the 70s or 60s, whatever. People have been writing on walls because they want to communicate and want to feel part of something. And then obviously that movement with like hip hop graffiti, like you got like writers working together, and you get crews, and we're out of New York, we're out of Boston, we're out of Jersey, we're out of East London, South London, Croydon, whatever. And you get part of something, and then you go to these conventions, and people love that. You have these like Star Wars conventions and Cartoon Common. I don't know. It's people love to feel like they're part of something, and all of these happened before the internet. Before the internet, as we know it, existed, people were somehow gravitating to each other because we had similar likes.
Yeah.
Do you know? People who were into horse riding probably went to do something in their way, and then they were all little meetings about talking about horses.
Yeah, it is, and the internet is.
And people are hungry. People were so hungry. Like I can't think of it. I don't know if it happens now. Honestly, like I remember in those times, mid-90s, and you before the internet, not before the internet, but before social media, you had MSN Messenger. I was up there talking to LP, talking to Mr. Len, talking to who's that MC that I worked with in Boston called Mr. Liff.
Yes, Mr. Liff.
Esoteric.
Yeah, Rucker.
So Rucker Iris Science. All these people were there, and all of these people were about to start amazing careers.
Yeah.
They were about to release their first record, or they just released their first record, but none of them had blown up.
No.
I met Swallow Members. All of these people were on the verge, and Raucous Records just started. And they were like, yeah, man, I went to Raucous Records office. I met Talib Kweli. I met Mos Def. They were just all kids, like 18, 19, 17, all hungry. And they didn't care if I was from London. They were like, wow, man, there's hip hop there. Take our music there to London. There. And obviously fast years, the whole independent music, independent hip hop blew up to a good thing. And then it kind of ate itself. But in the mid-90s, it was amazing, that whole synergy of people somehow really wanting to be in communication with each other.
Yeah. And you said something profound in that the social media, which is more like interest media really now, isn't it? It's become an echo chamber where it's kind of eaten into itself. So the thing that you should be doing, even the algorithm plays a part in it, you don't get to see the things that you should be seeing. Therefore, you're not communicating with the people that you would avidly be communicating with.
Well, I think there's a lot in the algorithm. They hit you with a bunch of shit you don't really want to see, and all the things you want to see, you've really got to dig to find the things that you really want to see. Like I kept getting hit with like a load of rubbish that I don't really care about.
Yeah.
Or it's like really political, or I don't know, like loads of other stuff, but not my interest specifically. And there's far less communication, but then there's also partly because our brains have become overloaded that we can't watch a full music video. You know, I remember when Ninja Tune told me a couple of years back, like around about 2010, they were like, yo, we want to shorten some of our old back catalog records. We want to shorten all the records to under 3 minutes. They wrote to me recently about 2 years ago. They said, we want to shorten our catalog to under 2 minutes.
What?
Yeah, to all the songs to under 2 minutes. And I had to go through some old songs to see if we could make some edits to under 2 minutes.
I mean, you trip hop guys, you didn't have put out some songs that some of them lasted half a day.
Well, yeah. I mean, Fat Freddy's Drop, like most of their songs are like 8-9 minutes long.
Yeah.
Still. So
Crazy.
2 minutes. And I'm like, but, you know, and when you look on your analytics of YouTube and stuff, people's attention span now has just got so short. Like, and if you're doing like a posse cut record, you damn well better hope you're first, because no one's ever going to get to the second.
Was it K-Slay 110 men deep or something? It's just like, yeah, be the first 3 MCs. That's all you need to be.
Yeah, you ain't getting to that last guy.
No.
In the scenario, it's mad, like, because Busta Rhymes is like one of the last ones.
Yeah.
His verse is epic.
I
If that record came out now, no one have even heard of him. No one even been listening to that bit.
Yeah.
The first guy.
Yeah, totally. Rah, like a Dungeon Dragon, iconic. No one listened to it.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Controlling art it is now. The attention of people is controlling the quality of art. And back to graffiti, which certainly played a part in it. At the time when we were going out on tour, graffiti, it was taking quite a hit because of the amount of new cameras that were going up. You know, you'd like less than, you know, for argument's sake, less than 8 minutes to do a piece before the police show up because they're testing out these CCTV cameras. It's kind of a similar thing where people ain't got the attention, therefore you're molding your movements entirely, your whole day's movements entirely on the interest of social media and the attention of people, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's like when you see like new graffiti, like now, I don't know. I think like more like legal mural art has kind of taken over because a lot of the illegal stuff, like you say, with the CCTV camera, you can't do a piece like you were doing in the 90s.
That's why legal rules are prevalent, and street art is the way it is, right?
Yeah, like all those massive, like, you know, those massive, you know, estate size, you know, 20 story building, come with a crane and all that shit.
Yeah.
I did an art festival last 2 weeks ago in Italy, and they set up all this massive scaffolding and all this in this village. They did street art on like every building.
Wow.
It was
Yeah, a lot of those things are popping up. People always refer, Vadim, and I brought up the graffiti thing intentionally because your album covers have always, if it wasn't a graffiti artist directly who's doing it, the references, the artwork, how you consider that, you know, the design and the layout and everything, it was very much close. It was close to you, wasn't it? The whole graffiti thing.
because I always loved I love street art. I love, when I say graffiti, I love people who do pieces. Some tags, yeah, cool, but I'm not really into tags.
Right.
More into like people who can do pieces, whole car, whole buses, whole buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like the way that people develop the characters, the lettering.
Mm.
And yeah, I like the other side of it too. People who do street art, the murals, the stencils, the Shepherd Ferry, those kind of people too.
Yeah.
You know,
Got you.
And it's just something about brightening someone's day, and that also being part of hip hop. Like when I was there, I had this really strong identity of hip hop is MCing, b-boying, graffiti, DJing, beatboxing. That's like for me the 5 elements. And when I put together the Oneself show, it was just I was just a kid, like just really into hip hop. I just loved hip hop and consumed it all. And that's why I can meet, and I still do love music, and that's why I can go and sit in a room with a heavy metal guy, not be into their music, but I can be into their passion.
Mm-hmm.
Like they could be like into Pantera and into like people riffing on guitars, and they could tell you all day about the greatest riffers and this, that, and the other. And I can sit there and I can actually listen to them and go, yeah, man, that, because they listen. They're into it, and they're into whatever and there's so few people who are so into things now, because people now just having this like a little bit like of a tapas, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but not really into anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm into a little bit of drill, I'm into a bit of grime, I'm into a bit of drum and bass, but I can't name you one song of anything.
No.
Not really into. So I love that. That's where I came from. That complete passion and being absorbed into a culture and trying to represent it.
Yeah.
And now I've been watching that guy DJ AG online. It's amazing what it's done. But that brings back the memory. Do you remember when we went busking? We did that shit in
Did we do that?
1996. I did that with Yara in the early 2000s, and we did it in Leicester Square when MTV was in Leicester Square.
No way.
The Blue Run. But that's before social media, so no one saw it apart from the people who were there.
It is busking essentially, but DJing new, you know, up to date instruments, right?
What, with electronics?
Yeah.
People busk with electric speakers as well now. So, what he's done is amazing, and sometimes I think that I had these ideas, and I came before my time.
Yeah.
If social media was then.
Yeah. Do you think that a lot? Because when I think about, because this does fall in line with the Oneself thing, we toured as Russian Percussion in, when was it? 2000? 99, 2000?
Yeah.
And that took us all around the globe, 137 ridiculous countries in a year and a half or something. It was mad. Certainly a launch pad for me, but you didn't see it like you would see it now in social media. So it's like, if a tree falls in the woods, do you hear it? Whereas in our memories, we know it, right? But something has to come off the back of it. It's crazy that it's just mad that you probably have to do less work and get more and gain more attention because of social media, right?
Because when I did it then, I did it as a kid who loved hip hop. I didn't think of it as a money-making venture. And that's me looking back with my 50-year-old eyes, looking back on myself as a 25-year-old kid, that I should have been more, could have taken advantage more of those opportunities of what we were doing, because we were one of the first to take hip hop like that. We were doing that shit before C2C, before many of those groups who came afterwards, like the C2C thing they did was called Hocus Pocus. You know, I remember how many shows we went to and met DJs, and then years on afterwards, those people would go and blow up and do things very similar. It would be like a beatboxer, a keyboard player, an MC, and I'm like, but I did that like 7 years ago.
Yeah, totally.
Do you know what I mean? So maybe I was lucky that I found really talented people. I found you, I found Mr. Thing, first rate, Blue Room smashed it, Yara smashed it, John Ellis smashed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of us were just hungry to get out there.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Thing was just cool. Like, yeah, if there's some shows, I'll go to Dortmund or Berlin or Prague or
Yeah.
Greece. Or,
McDonald's.
yeah, McDonald's. We just get in hand, and I just wanted to take it. And yeah, we did. I just wanted to take the music everywhere. That's what I wanted to do.
You said to me that you see. There's also a competitive side to you, Vaz, which I always was inspired by. You were, I think you were reading some article about David Bowie having done God knows how many shows in like I don't know a month, and you were just hell bent. No, we're going to do more than him. We're going to do more than him. Do you remember this?
He did something like he did like something like 78 shows in 82 days in America.
Yeah.
Then I didn't beat him, but I went close. I did like there was a couple of years like 2003, 2004, 2005 where I ended up doing 130 shows in like 160 days, something like that.
Oh,
It
Jesus.
wasn't quite as good as him, but
Still a
because
lot,
we were
bro.
doing it everywhere. And that was with you. That was before or on the cusp of when Russian Percussion became Oneself.
Yes, because this
That's
was
what happened.
yeah. That is what happened. Because I don't remember because I wasn't there, but it seemed very organic that it went from Russian Percussion, which was essentially it was tour support for the album for Life from Another Side and maybe the following album. Jazz Fudge was in play as well, so it all kind of fed in itself, which again is part of the genius. I mean, there's no reason why things like that shouldn't and couldn't happen with any forward-thinking artist and label. But what happened afterwards was it then merged. It morphed into something else, which is where Oneself really begins its story, doesn't it?
I think at the same time as what was happening with Russian Percussion, it was really tour support for those albums, and I never the live experience was more than the album, and we were thinking about somehow encompassing the live experience to create an album, and then I had Blue Rum and Yara both kind of. Blue Rum was first, and Yara came in the fold. And then at the same time, you were starting to do things on your own, like because you were amazing. And also beatboxing at that time had really been just like, yeah, that guy in a police academy. And then there was the Roots. So that was literally not many other people around were doing it. And then you were there going city to city, door to door from the shows. And then some of the other people were like, yeah, man, we can do that. And then this beatbox scene kind of grew very much. Like, I don't remember any beatboxing before we did it.
No.
Really?
No. It's hard for people to comprehend that as well. You know, there's only a few people that could actually say that.
Everywhere.
Say again?
We have beatbox competitions everywhere. And I get sometimes I go online and I was chatting to some guy. He was like, he named the top 10 beatboxers. And he named a bunch. He named a bunch of people I've never heard of. All of them. None of them have ever heard of them. And I go to him. Firstly and foremost, none of you would be doing it if it wasn't for Killa Kela. And he goes, "Oh my God, I came to see you in Killa Kela in Prague in 2006. I know, but we're just naming the new people." I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I know.
But
classic. It goes back to your point about being ahead of the curve, and at what point is that that wave ready to surf, and also like take Oneself for instance. You've reignited that you've re-established it, you've pushed it out again with a new release, new package, new branding.
That's because we had songs that we never released back then, and I was going through some old hard drives, and I was like, you know what, this sounds really, really good, and it just kind of sounds different, like to a lot of the other kind of stuff like that is around now. Like everybody's like on this like double timey or grimy or kind of drilly kind of like shoot everyone up and slang crack and this, that, and the other. I'm like, yeah, cool, man, you can do that, but I want to do something a little bit different. And it just felt like we needed to bring that just that good vibe.
Yeah.
You know, like the Far Side, that kind of like laid back, just not trying to change the world, not trying to tell you how to live or who to vote for. Just, yo, come here and we just have a good time. You know what I mean? A good musical vibe.
Yeah. Because you must get this a lot with your records and your music. I mean, I dare say, you know, for a lot of my music, I wouldn't play it again, but because you recorded so much stuff. I mean, I remember you telling me you had hard drives with CL Smooth rapping and, like you say, Cool Keith, like crazy. I mean, you must go back to some of them like time capsules and be like, fuck, still sounds all right. Cool, I'm proud I got what was I thinking? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I do. Some of the stuff I really can't release.
What's the biggest tune you really can't release for legal reasons?
Well, there's some KRS-One stuff
Stop it.
and Beatnut stuff. And I don't know, just because I just think there'll be too many problems.
Dude, you're like you're like the archetype hip hop hoarder. This is exactly what the
Cash gonna
hip
love
hop
this.
producers do.
You're gonna go, give me those tapes. I want
Totally.
It is what it is, you know, and once you're in the game long enough, you get to meet people and you bump into people, and I don't know.
Now that sounds quite kleptomaniac of you to suddenly just, you know, pull up like on KRS-One and say, look, let's do 3 or 4 tunes. You know, that doesn't normally happen. There's some Jedi mind trick going on here.
That was because of DJ 279 was on Choice FM.
Right.
And then Mark sent him a tape of some beats, and then 279 played the beats to KRS-One, and KRS-One loved it, and then 279 said, let's record it. So then KRS-One came over.
Mad.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then you just have these random meetings. And like, I remember when I met Rock Raider and what's his partner called? Mr. Sinister.
Yeah.
And Rob Swift.
That's it.
And and Harvey used to run Zonked, promo agency.
Yeah.
And he had them over for some promo, and they needed to do a DJ mix, and the studio let them down. And then he called me, goes, can they come over to your house? And they came over to my mum's house.
Mad.
Yeah.
Mad.
And they were like on my turntables, like in my like bedroom. I'm like, and they honestly, they didn't care, because they came in and like we were talking hip hop, and they were like, yeah, man, yeah, we're from New York. These like 3 massive New York guys coming to my mum's house in like Kingston, like Southwest.
Yeah. I remember when that happening when we did the mixtape, me and Mr. Thing, and the arsonists showed up. I don't think Mr. Thing was there, but you and me were there, and I just remember seeing all the guys, all of them. Do you remember?
The guy I speak to still is Destroy.
Lovely bloke, like Destroy, big up Destroy.
And he's on like one of those internet radio shows.
Sirius XM, and he does Show Us Your Gems as well and things like that, doesn't he?
Yeah. I love that guy just simply because he has a massive passion for the music, and he goes quite geeky, but I suppose I can go geeky too, and it's refreshing. And I don't know if new kids growing up now who are 18 years old are going deep into anything. And it's just, to me, that's like a little bit sad.
Yeah. Well, it's sad because they're having, like you say, tapas versions of what they think is, you know, it's not as rounded and a culture. They're not, you know, they're not digesting it in that way.
Well, yeah, maybe they'll be like, well, you know, who the fuck cares? I don't want to get into toys made after Skepta or JME or whoever it is now, Central C.
Yeah.
I don't want to. They're more interested in. Unfortunately, they're probably more interested in who's Central C's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like I come from a time where I didn't care who Wu-Tang Clan were dating.
No, at all.
I didn't care about that. I didn't care who KRS-One was dating. I didn't care who Ice Cube was with or whoever, Dr. Dre. We cared about their records.
Yeah, 100%.
And what they were releasing and how sick they were on the beats or beatbox or DJing or whatever. Do you know what I mean? We were in the record store like going to Mr. Bongo's every Saturday, just hanging out for hours.
Yeah.
You'd buy some records, but it was more about just banter and meeting people, and everyone would go to Mr. Bongo's. like kids from
Yeah.
Bristol, from Reading, all the kind of like all those towns around London. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Well, that was
'Cause
stomping
they just have
ground.
the best stuff coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it became a central hub. That's another thing as well. There isn't the central hub of things
And
anymore.
and where is that hub now? Because no one buys vinyl, or not
No.
very many people buy vinyl. So there isn't that place where people go to. People would go to Mr. Bongos who weren't necessarily DJs. They would just go to hang out because it was a good vibe and you
Yeah.
just hear good tunes.
Yeah.
Do you,
Yeah.
you could catch there. So you had people like Fresh. You remember Fresh?
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Um,
I miss
and
Fresh, man.
why did he die?
No. He's still with us. He's still here. I saw a
Uh,
photo with him. I saw a photo. I think Mr. Spice put up a photo and Kish Cash put a photo up with him
really?
recently. Yeah.
But just those, it was interesting times, and I'm so absolutely thankful that I came out of that era because
Mm,
I think it's one of the best eras to be born into.
yeah.
Like maybe arguably 70s New York could have been
Yeah.
amazing too.
Yeah.
Uh, or 80s New York. But 90s
1986.
London, yeah,
Something like that.
90s London, mid 90s and 90s London was dope.
Well, it was that, wasn't it?
It was, and people will look back at it and go, "Oh my God!" And from that same time in those 90s, I remember when the Blue Note Club opened. Right, that used to be called the Bass Clef, which was like some soul club in the middle of basically little Bangladesh. There was nothing in there, Boxton Square,
Wow.
in the 80s, but there was that soul club. And then it became the Blue Note. And then 333 opened. And all of a sudden, in the Blue Note, you'd have DJs who, like people like Goldie, who were just about to release Timeless. You
Yeah.
had Sawney doing that whole Asian sound before Asian
Mm,
sound was anything.
yeah.
People like Timberland
Wow.
even knew what Asian records were.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then you had Giles Peterson
Yeah.
doing the whole acid jazz thing, and
Yeah.
with Ninja Tune and Mo Wax, bringing people like DJ Shadow and the what's it called, Black Alicious crew,
Yeah.
um, Gift of the Gab, and
Yeah.
bringing DJ Crush, and then
Yeah.
Cole Carton with Ninja,
Oh God, the nostalgia's killing me.
and seeing Ronnie Size and all those people, all of these people before they blew up.
Mm.
Before drum and bass really got going, before like as jungle was just literally coming out,
Mm.
developing, like people like the way that the patterns and the production, and it was just an amazing time when you see all of these things getting birthed and
Mm.
able to go to record shops and see that. And at the same time, I met Noodles, who was working in MASH on Oxford Street.
Yeah. Mash.
And he was one of the pioneers of the whole speed garage and UK garage sound. And like, he's just a soul boy, soul hip hop guy. And he just likes that more up tempo, you know what I mean, vibe.
Yeah. Nice.
And
Wow.
that became garage, do you know what I mean? And then garage was the prototype of mixing like hip hop into grime, really.
Yeah.
Going at 128, 135, 140 BPM.
Wow.
Seeing that
Movements. I mean, what you're talking about there, these are all connective fault lines that go right across the genres, but also it all feeds and amplifies itself. So whether it's a Mowax or a Jazz Fudge, whether it's a mash shop or a Mr. Bongo shop, whether it's in this area or that area, communally, it all grew together. It was just everything had synergy to it, and an audience wanted all of it.
Yeah, man. Well, it's hunger.
Yeah.
It was like musical hunger from people, and yeah, man, I missed that.
Yeah. Is that where you kind of got out of the oneself when you listen back to it? You thought to yourself, well, this is of a time, it's of a place that you weren't going to release it on the idea that it was suddenly going to change the forecast of what we're talking about in music and how it was, but you unearthed something that was of that time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a throwback to that time, and it's doing pretty well. And we're gonna do a whole bunch of shows later on in the year. We're gonna go on
Wicked.
tour. We're gonna go on
Wow.
tour with Farside,
Wow.
and do some stuff and see what happens. Do you know what I mean?
Nice. That's so sick. Yeah, but this is positioning, isn't it? But like when you said Far Side earlier, and when you bring up those names in association, in conversation with something like this, it all makes sense. And there is still an audience and a touring circuit for all of these things. So it's just about plugging in, just replugging back in, isn't it?
Yeah, man. Well, I think so. It's like in those days, I keep going back to those days, in the mid-90s, everybody, there was really just like one scene. And it was like commercial hip hop hadn't really started yet, because when Radio 1 only started having a hip hop show with Westwood, what, 97 or something?
Yeah, that's right.
Something around then, 98. So, but
On
prior
Friday
to that,
night, yeah.
prior to that, there was no like hip hop really. There was occasional songs that got in the charts, like Beastie Boys or
TLC
like
Waterfalls or Outcasts or
something.
something like that, yeah.
Some songs occasionally got in.
Yeah.
It was great, but there wasn't really that much on the radio. So there was basically underground. It was no such thing as underground. It was just hip hop. So everybody knew if KRS-One was coming, or Big Daddy Kane, or Pete Rock, CL Smooth,
Yeah.
Gangsta, groups like that. Wu-Tang. It was just, people just loved it all. There were some people who liked more like the West Coast sound as opposed to the East Coast. There was that. Some people were like, yeah, man, that's effects, that's my shit. And other people were more like, yeah, Far Side, Bizarre Ride, because it is a different mood.
Yeah, it's a different mood, yeah.
But it was still more or less the same kind of thing. Whereas nowadays, if you said I'm into hip hop to someone, most people say rap, but even if you say I'm into hip hop, what does that mean? Like,
Yeah, it's
like,
different for different generations, isn't it? Jesus.
yeah, and like how some new kids would say it, it's like I wouldn't really be sure. And they could name a whole bunch of artists who honestly I've never even heard of.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard
Like
to keep up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard. Like especially like regional rap. If you're not from that region, you don't know. And nowadays, because in those days, it was really hard to get studio time. It was really expensive to buy equipment, all of that. Nowadays, everybody's putting out records. Even just in the UK, there's people who are putting out records and getting like successful. And unless you're there listening and that period of time, it could pass you by. And I live now in Budapest, so that sometimes I discover records like, wow, I've never even heard this person. And they got like 2 million followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
Who's this person?
I know, that's
You know what I mean?
crazy.
I don't know,
Budapest is I mean, we did some Budapest, didn't we? Why Budapest though?
because I have a daughter and she lives here.
She's originally from she grew up in Budapest.
She because the baby mother is Hungarian. She was born in Spain, but we broke up and I followed her here. And it's nice, it's cheap, it's winter is cold and summer is hot. So
sounds perfect.
well, winter
Sounds like London, to be fair.
No, it's like a proper summer here.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, I can tell by the radiance on your tan there, Vadim. You know,
like whenever I come back, everyone's like, "Yeah, London, man." It's like, "Yeah, we have good weather too," and I'm like, "Stop lying."
Yeah, you're a liar.
Every time I fly back to London, it's like in summer, it's like 18 degrees and probably raining.
Yeah.
Just rained, and like occasionally, like my wife is actually in London right now. And it has been like some nice weather these last 4 days.
Yeah. It's that's
like,
why I lent on the idea that it's sunny, 'cause it's sunny today.
So lucky. That's it. You got the 4 days of sunshine.
Yeah, and then that's it. It's over.
Yeah.
Was it hard to move out of England? Well, it probably wasn't in theory, but I'm talking about in practice, because you had an established name for yourself in the UK and in America as well.
No, because from the very first day I started doing these DJing and tours and stuff like that, I always put myself out there. So for me, it was always about doing, like, we've got to do it. We've got to do more shows, got to get out there, got to get to these places. I really wanted to discover these places and do it. And I don't know if you remember, but we were some of the first hip hop shows in Eastern European countries.
Yes, that's right. I know. We went to mad Polish places and
Prague and Poland and all these,
Helsinki and all that crazy
yeah,
places.
Helsinki, yeah, loads and loads of places. We were some of the first hip hop shows they ever had.
Yeah.
They would say, Beastie Boys were here, no Russian percussion. I'm like,
Metallica were here
Yeah.
and Russian percussion. Do you remember Belgrade?
yeah,
Yo.
we did a massive show in Budapest for their 1999 New Year's Eve party, and it was like 3,000 people.
Yeah.
And it's so funny when I think back at that. One of my memories was people used to wear really communist clothes in those times.
Yeah.
And because they had no money. When you take it for granted, like growing up in the UK, but we didn't really have money either, but we had a hell of a lot more than what they did.
Yeah.
They say they ain't got money, they still got Nikes, they still got a phone, they still got,
Yeah.
go to McDonald's. In Eastern Europe at that time, it was like you either go to McDonald's and you can have one pair of Nikes every like 5 years.
Yeah.
And it was like nothing. Like they were poor. It's it's not a joke, but yeah, man,
Mad times.
it was great experience.
Yeah. I got a photo somewhere of us up on the top of a hill in Poland and just looking right across this crazy landscape. I think I had a t-shirt on that said security or something. I don't know. It was
Do you remember that time we were in this place called Novi Sad, which is the
Yes.
second city of Serbia, and you and Blue Rum went to the castle, and then these girls chased you and Blue Rum around, and then they said, then they turned around and said to Blue Rum, "Thank you for being black."
Really? I don't remember this. I did.
Felt like you had a choice.
I'll big up Blue Rum 13, man. My brother, I really hope the best for the Oneself project, and I hope this, it rains on further, that you continue the pattern of putting out tunes.
That's right. Lots of stuff coming. Still here, still doing it. DJVadim.com. All the videos, all the info. Yeah, man.
What keeps you going?
Viagra. No. I don't know. Like, honestly, sometimes I think about that and people ask me, when I had cancer in 2007 and I didn't die, I had a very rare type of cancer and I survived. I had a new lease of life. And then I just had this desire, just mad musical ideas. So many, all the time. It's like, lack of a better word, musical diarrhea, all day, every day. I don't have enough time to do the things. And sometimes I meet artists and they tell me they have like an artistic block. And I never had that. Honestly, I don't have enough time to do the ideas I wanted to. Like sometimes I think about like how you read about how certain artists have these production camps, like how Dr. Dre does it, has all these ghost producers, and how and Pharrell does it. And that's not new. You see even back in the days with certain, like with Picasso and certain other artists, they would have like side people who would help them do certain projects, and then they would go and finalize it. And I need someone like that. I need little Vadims. Set them up in different rooms. To get all my ideas cracking. That's what I feel.
Need to have your brain in pouring out this.
Maybe
this
AI
ideas.
can help me. I'm gonna give birth to little AI babies. Who can do the things when I'm sleeping that I need to be done, like make some beats in this style, and this is the reference point, and then in the morning I can check it. And
the future is coming upon us now.
Oh yeah, the future's always changing.
Vadim, it's been an absolute pleasure, my brother. My brother from another mother, literally.
Thank you, Killa Kela.
You know?
366 good for life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Russian percussion. I was gonna play on the word, but I won't because that was first rate, not us. Was it Russian butt action or something? Something like that.
And I could talk to you all day about some of those funny tour stories.
Yeah, don't doubt it.
Yeah.
Well, I hope our conversations brought back some fond memories that will go back into the tank and create even more greater albums, including Oneself, future releases, and all that good stuff.
Big up, brother.
Take care. Killa Kela podcast out like it was out of fashion, all right? Don't talk to anyone I wouldn't, and you stay lucky, people. Cheers, Vadim.
Yes, thank you. Peace.
Easy.